Hey guys, welcome back. So this is a topic that I've wanted to discuss for a long time, and it's really broad. I thought I might have to make multiple videos, but I think that I've honed it down into a small enough amount of space that I can fit it into one video. So these are the core kind of principles that I think are the most important things for a creative person if they want to advance either personally or professionally in their creative pursuits. And this goes for anything. This could be used for drawing, painting, sculpture, music, dance, acting, whatever it is that you want to do creatively. These skills will help you with that. And they are skills because all the things I'm about to talk about are things that you can work on and get better at. So, without further ado, let's get started. Before I get going, let's get started. But before I get going, picture these skills. I'm making them in order from like the very, very core and out to, you know, what I think is a good encapsulation of like the main skills. But we're starting at the very core, which is the ability to step outside of your comfort zone, start something new. That's a huge thing creatively, whether you are just getting into creative pursuits and you want to start painting or sculpting or whatever it is you want to do, or whether you are a seasoned veteran and you have been working in the industry for a long time, but you're scared to delve into new territory, even though you might want to. It happens on both ends of the spectrum. This is why I say this is a skill. You are not going to get anywhere if you can't step outside of your comfort zone. So if you want to paint, and you know, I've had people tell me for years, like, I want to start painting, and they just never start, and then years later, they still haven't started painting. But what you need to do is go buy paints, doesn't matter what kind, go pick out your paints, and just start. And then that's how you start to discover what is going to work for you, what's not going to work for you, where you might have some talent, and where you might need to improve things. It all starts with that first step forward. So the ability to start is important, and some people have no problem with this, but a lot of people do. So that's my number one core thing. If you can't get started, nothing's going to happen. I think the reason people don't get started is that they're afraid of failing or making a mistake or messing up. But that goes to my number 2 point, the next layer, is don't be scared to make mistakes. Mistakes can teach you all the things that you either that you don't know or keep you from avoiding the same mistakes in the future. So you make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. You go, oh damn, that sucks. You either start over or you learn how to fix your mistakes, which is another skill set itself, is being able to recover from a mistake. So don't be scared of mistakes. Just take it as a lesson. Every time you mess something up, it's a new lesson. It's a thing that you know now. And then going forward into the future forever, you will have that lesson in your head, which is awesome. So don't be scared of mistakes. And then once you're kind of comfortable in those zones, I think it's really important to get over being shy about what you do. You want to be able to talk to people, and when you meet strangers or new people and they ask you what you like to do, tell them what you like to do. Tell them, like, I like to paint or I like to draw, whatever it is you like to do. And if you have future plans, like I want to learn this, that, or the other, I'm really into doing this. Like I'm painting now, but I really want to be a landscape painter, or, you know, whatever it is your goal is, don't be scared to tell people. You will be amazed at how many people will be able to help you in some way. Not that you're looking for help, but the fact that you tell people in a conversation what you like to do can lead to I don't know, they might be like, oh, my grandfather's like a famous landscape painter, you should meet him. And then suddenly you have connections, you get a million tips, it works great. And you'd be amazed at how many times just saying that I like to do something, or I'm, you know, have some hobby that I like, has led to me getting work or being involved in fun projects that I would never have been involved in had I not just mentioned it in passing. So, I mean, it's hundreds of times in my life that's been true. So that is highly important, is to talk to people. And in the same kind of boat with sharing your work, I think it's really good to find forums, which is the great thing about the internet. You can find like-minded people who are into the same things that you're into. And there'll be forums and people are posting what they're working on. And you guys can share work and you can critique each other. And it's really important. Being critiqued is one of the fastest ways to learn where you are lacking in skills at whatever it is you're doing. Now, sometimes it sucks and it can feel a little harsh if you're not used to it, but posting your work somewhere where people can kind of tear it apart, hopefully not in a mean way, sometimes in a mean way. And even sometimes the mean people are still right when they are making their point. So having people take your work apart, once you get over the initial like sting of it, can be really, really helpful in speeding up your progression as far as your skills and getting better at things. So that's highly important. And listen to those people, whether they say things in a mean way or not. Just listen to them, take it in, think about it. Sometimes you might have, like I said, you have to get over that sting of like being told that people don't like what you're doing. But if they're good critiquers, they will give you pretty specific reasons why they have problems with your work or things that you can improve. So that is a great way to accelerate your progress, your learning curve, I should say, with whatever your creative pursuits. Let's see. Number 4 is also goes in with the critiquing, but it's being self-critical. And it's being able to look at your own work objectively and look at it and see the flaws in it and be okay with that. And I think that, again, with most creative pursuits, people will get good at something or they'll work really hard on a drawing or a song or whatever it is, and they have one part that's really, really good, but then the rest of it sort of sucks. And they are so focused on that one good part that they don't see all the suckiness around it. It happens a lot with like artists. You look at people draw eyes really beautifully, and then the face is all wonky. So like being able to like be self-critical and back up and look at your work and kind of say, okay, this part is kind of crappy, and go fix it. It's going to improve your overall work. This is a thing that takes a long time to develop, but it's important that you can do that. Like, don't look at your stuff and think this is great. And everything, especially if you're a newly creative person, everything you make feels really good because you just made a thing. And it's this new, like, oh my God, I just made this. And it feels awesome. Even if it's terrible, it feels awesome. So, it just takes experience, but you'll get better and better at being self-critical. And that the better you are at that, the better your work's going to be, and the faster you will, improve in your creative pursuits, personal or professional. Number 5 is connecting skills, which is a thing that seems kind of obvious to a lot of people, but I'm surprised at how many people are really good at one thing and they have a whole other interest that they're into, and they're not putting together that there's a lot of crossover between the two. Like, for example, if you learn to draw and you're learning anatomy and perspective and lighting, that stuff all applies to sculpting and all applies to painting. So you don't have to learn to paint those things. All those concepts should apply across the board. And that applies really randomly, like all over life. Like if you learn how to fix surfboards and you're learning how to work with fiberglass, when you start making molds later, you already have this knowledge about how to work with fiberglass and resin. So, take stuff that you've learned previously and apply it as much as possible to new things. I'm shocked at how many people don't do this. When I talk to people and they're like, oh, I worked in the auto repair business for years, and then they can't fix a piece of costume armor with fiberglass. I'm like, it is the same skill set. Happens all over the place. Just be aware of it, and just make constant effort to think about how your skills can be cross-pollinated, and that's really, really handy. Be malleable and, be able to adjust what you do. Like if you're working one way, don't be so set in your ways that you don't experiment out. And that still kind of goes along with the stepping out of your comfort zone. Try variants on the way that you do things and see. You might come up with new methods that are fantastic that you would have never thought of before if you didn't experiment. And it's the difference between, a person who, some technician who has learned the method to do things, they follow the directions perfectly every time, and they might be really good at that, but they're never going to be an innovator. So, think ahead and think about other ways that you can apply your skill sets and, cross them up. You might be amazed at the things you come up with. And that's like pretty much the main core of the skills that I think are good. I think that one kind of like thing that is good to work on, and it kind of goes along with the critiquing thing, is don't let people discourage you. You might have outside people. If you're into some weird hobby, don't let your parents tell you like you can't be a musician or you can't be an artist or any of those things. It's ridiculous. There's professional musicians and artists and creators and actors all over the place, and they got there because they pursued it and they got there. So when your family's like, you know, I'm gearing this mostly toward young people because I feel like it happens a lot. Like I see young kids that are coming out of high school. They're like, oh, I want to do this, but my parents say that I'll never succeed. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, if that's your passion, that's what you should go for. If you love it, you'll do okay. You'll be fine. So, you know, don't let people discourage you if you want to do something. And if you're into it, be proud of it. I mean, why not? It's like, it's part of you. Then don't be embarrassed if you don't like fit in with everybody else. It's okay. It'll pay off in the long run too. If you're really into something that nobody else is into and you become the only person who's into that, when someone needs that thing, everybody's going to come to you. It's another good thing about, you know, embracing your weirdness, I guess. Anyway, those are my core kind of like skills. I'll put at the bottom a little like shortcut to timestamps for these things. I know it's really rambly. If anybody's interested in one of those segments more, let me know, and I'll try to do a video specifically on each one. If you can bear my voice for that much longer. But anyway, it's raining outside. I'm doing stuff on the computer. I figured I'd just try to crank this thing out. And hopefully it's not too boring for you guys and it helps some people. But anyway, thanks for stopping by. I'll see you kids soon. Later. Bye.